a comb here. And what I'm gonna do, you guys, is that I'm gonna section off the fringe area first. All right. So if we kind of want a basic lesson on where to find the fringe, we want to take a comb, and whenever that hair starts to, or that comb starts to rock forward, that's as far back as you can go. Okay. I'm gonna take that then to both sides of the recession. Okay. The recession of the hair, and I got a big one so you can look right here, is right where that point is, okay? Where the hairline meets on the recession. So we're gonna put that away, and I'm just going to clip this away so we can get at this fringe area, okay? There, and then we'll go to the other side, and we're gonna clip this away too. First thing I wanna do is I wanna establish a guideline for where the fringe lives. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of a triangle right from the center of that fringe, and I'm gonna find where I want this fringe to start. I'm gonna do it right between her nose and her mouth, all right? So I'm just gonna take a nice cut right there, all right? So right there, take all that hair away. What I'm also gonna do then from this fringe, is I'm gonna lift it completely directly vertical. And when I lift it vertical, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a big undercut. The reason why I'm doing this undercut is that we know a golden rule of hair is that shorter hairs push longer hairs, okay? So we're gonna have that shorter hair underneath these longer hairs, and what that's automatically gonna do is it's gonna start pushing the fringe one direction to another, okay? So we've got that guideline placed, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna create this fringe. So what I'm gonna do, instead of cutting it directly how it lives, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna elevate it. I'm gonna elevate it completely towards myself. What this is gonna do is that this is going to create graduation, all right? We know that graduation creates softness. So I want this whole haircut to be soft. So what I'm gonna do, instead of cutting it down to where it lives, I'm gonna elevate it up, and I'm gonna cut this from my guideline. Here's my guideline right here, and I'm gonna start cutting. And while I'm cutting towards myself. You can see the angle of my fingers. My finger angle is at a diagonal, okay? So right there, you can see that beautiful diagonal being placed right there. That's the basis. All right, cool. Now, we're gonna cut to the other side. We all wanna make sure that we're cutting from A to B. A is always your starting guide point, and then B is your finish. So this is going to be a little bit more challenging if you're right-handed, because you wanna make sure that you're cutting the exact same way that you did. Now, what I do for this then, is that I'm just gonna put my wrist on top of my wrist, and then I'm gonna angle my shears back, find that guideline, and then I'm gonna start cutting. You guys see there? It's a little bit more difficult for me, so I'm just gonna cut off, make sure that I have exactly symmetrical from one side to the other. Okay, so that's our starting guideline for our fringe, okay? So what I'm gonna do now is that I'm gonna take a diagonal back section from the top part of her fringe to the back of her ear. I'm gonna do that on both sides. I'm gonna cross over, sorry. We're gonna take this diagonal back of the ear. You can see now where that section is. Diagonal back to the back part of her ear. And Vanessa here has got a ton of hair, so it's a little bit more difficult to work with, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create her face frame, all right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna base it off of her fringe. Taking this up, and again, I'm gonna elevate it to create that graduation, and I'm gonna angle it and over direct to her nose, okay? Over direction, elevation, all create graduation. Graduation then equals softness, all right? We want a very soft haircut, okay? So elevation over direction, and we're going to keep from going from A to B. Always make sure that you only take the hair that you can handle. So I'm going to drop some of that hair and keep on moving. Take more of the hair. There's my last guideline. Elevation over direction to that nose. Almost got the whole section now done. Elevation over direction. This is the last part right there, you guys, that I'm going to cut. All right, we'll drop that down. We're going to do the same thing on the other side now. We're going to elevate and over direct to her nose, find that guideline, and then we're going to cut down. One thing that I want you guys to make sure you're doing is cutting from A to B. That's for A is always where the guideline starts, and then B is where you finish. My last section here, I'm going to elevate and over direct. All right, what we're going to do now, you guys, is that we're going to take a parallel section from the previous section. So diagonal back, and I'm only going to take, Vanessa here's got a ton of hair, so I'm only going to do about a half an inch to a quarter, 3/4 of an inch. And you can see that I'm creating that diagonal back section. Juliana, if you can show over here where that sectioning goes. Perfect. I'm going to clip that off and do the exact same thing on the other side. Half an inch to 3/4 of an inch section, diagonal back. We're going to clip that off. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to take that hair, find our previous guideline, which is right here, right here. We're going to elevate and over direct to her nose. Elevate, over direct. Last section. Elevate and over direct. We'll go to the other side. And now, you guys, this might be hard for a lot of you. It was hard for me, okay? It's to do, making sure you go from point A to B on this side. But again, all you're going to do is you're gonna put your fingers in place. You're going to put wrist on top of wrist, and then you're going to angle back. Oh, there we go. All right, sorry about that. The internet was just trying to reconnect there. All right, so once again, you guys, my name is Mark Dolan. I'm creative director for Lanza. And this here, you guys, I call a shag for everyone, all right? Making sure we get all this hair. We got one last section right here. We're going to elevate and over direct, making sure that we create that graduation that creates softness. I saw there's one hair here that I missed. You guys can see the shape of how that's looking right now. We're going to keep on doing our diagonal back sections that are completely parallel from the previous section. Now here's the deal. Once you start getting back into the back of the head here, you're going to start running out of hair because it's going to be harder for the hair to be able to reach. So you're not going to be cutting much hair as you keep on moving back, okay? Diagonal back section. Clip that off. We're just going to keep on repeating, okay? So as you see here, again, there's way less hair for me to cut here. I've only got this much to here to be able to cut, okay? Because as you keep on going back further into the head, there's got to be less hair that's going to reach all the way so for you to be able to over direct towards that nose, okay? There it is right there. And I'm doing this, you guys, on dry hair. I like to a lot of times work on dry hair compared to wet hair because I can at the same time knock out the cut, but I can also knock out the texturizing as I go through and do this. All right, I'm going to go through now the other side. You guys see right there, that's the only hairs that I'm going to be cutting. You can see that previous guideline right underneath. Elevating, over directing, and cutting that hair. Now I'm going to drop the last, you guys. This is the last section of this face framing layering, okay? And as you can see, we really have that shape in place of that shag already, but we have not gotten to the back layering yet, all right? We've only done the face framing layer so far. All right, last section here, you guys. I'm gonna go through here, you got it? Take the hair from the back here, all the way. There might not be any hair that reaches. You can see right there, that's the only hair that reaches. You can see that previous guideline right underneath. All right, grabbing the last of this hair, and that's all I got right there. Like I said, once I keep on going back further into the back part of her hair, there's going to be a lot less haircut because there's a lot less hair that can reach all the way. On this side, you can see right there, this is the only hair that I'll be cutting. And I can see that I have a good guideline, so I'm just going to cut a little bit easier going from point B to A. This is the last hair right here. Okay, now we see that we already have that shag type of feel within this haircut, all right? And that is just from creating that face frame perimeter, okay?
Rita said super.
Super?
Super.
I love super. All right, so what I'm now gonna do, you guys, I'm gonna create her layering, all right? And what I'm gonna do with that is I'm gonna take a 1/2 inch parting from the middle or wherever her part is.
There's an amazing, thank you.
On both sides. You guys are awesome. I love it. You guys, the more talking you do, the better I do back here, all right? So, all right, so I'm going to take a 1/2 inch section, you guys, on both sides of the part, okay? I'm going to create it directly up, and I'm going to over direct it forward. Juliana, if you want to get on one side or the other so that people can see how I'm, so where they can see that, there we go, perfect, all right? So you guys see right here, is where her face framing layering is, and right where my fingers are where her fringe was, all right? I'm going to take this connection from her face framing layering right here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to elevate that up and forward, and then I'm going to drop this. It's easier for me to drop this to be able to cut this. So I'm just going to cut this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a backward flowing layering, okay? So even though more shags are done with a rounded layering style, which I'm going to eventually get to. I still want it to be a little bit more hair towards the back. All right, this is where we get into where this is more of a wearable shag. All right, it's the everyday shag compared to as in like where if they don't style it, it'll still look good. Does that make sense? So if I bring this straight up, you guys can see the angling of where my layers are. I'm going to drop that down. And I'm going to do our classic pie-shaped subsections around the head from where that guideline is, all right? So you guys can see right there. There's my guide right there, and that's what I'm gonna cut to, okay? And like I said, I like to do this on dry hair a lot because then I can also, while creating my lines, I can get in and also texturize at the same time. Going around the head, I always go from left to right. Find my guide, there it is. And what I like to do is just deep point cuts to create this shape. Bring that back up. Whenever I get to the ear, what I'm gonna do is I always follow the rule of bringing it back and over directing to the back of the ear, all right? That preserves length in the front. And I also don't want to cut any hole of my shape that I've already created right in through here. Went from one side of the head, we're gonna go to the other side of the head. Bring that up, you guys can see there's my previous section in my guideline. Cut that down.
Lisa loves dry cutting hair.
Lisa, you and me, we're like brother, sister from a different mother. All right. Unless we have the same mother. Just so you know, I'm adopted, so we could. I don't know. All right. So, keep on going up around the head. Find my perimeter. I'm sorry, my guideline. There it is right there. Now we're going to do that deep point cutting. Getting to the side of her head. And like I said, whenever we get in front of the ear, we're going to over direct to the back of the ear, preserving that length and also not disrupting the shape that we already created with her face frame. All right, so we've created her layering. I'm just going to lift this up just to see how we're doing. Look at that. Perfect shape on both sides. All right, so now I'm going to move this around here. Vanessa, move to the other side. We're going to now connect. What I like to do whenever I'm layering everything from any type of long layering haircut, I like to do the top layers, and then I go to the bottom, and then I connect in the middle, all right? So how I do the connection in the middle is really kind of easy because it's like all in one step. You did the top, now we're gonna go through. Let's do this. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna go through here. We're gonna bring everything straight out. We're just going to tap the corner at an angle, preserving that length at the bottom. We're going to bring this whole section that we just did and connect it then to the top. Like that. And you guys see right here, this is what I need to connect right here, okay?
Alan says I have cut, wet, and dry hair. Dry hair has been better for me. I like how you layer the hair.
Yes. So Alan, I agree with you. One thing that what I like about doing dry cutting first is that I'll put in my shape and I'll do the haircut. I'll go shampoo and conditioner, bring her back, dry her. I'm sorry, come back, shampoo and conditioner, and as she's wet, I will completely comb everything out, and I'll just nick anything, any corners or anything, any length that I need to be able to clean it up. But I've already created that shape within that dry haircut. All right, like I said here, all we're gonna do, we're gonna nick this corner, creating at an angle from the bottom on up.
Lisa wants me to do her hair.
Lisa, where do you live? Bring this up. We're going to connect this right here. Lisa, you tell me where you live, and when I come and teach in your area, I'll do your hair. All right. Going through the bottom again, taking it directly from where it lives, making sure that we nick this angle, preserving the length at the bottom. and we're gonna take this hair up and we're gonna meet it to those top layers. You can see right there, you guys, it's really, I'm only putting it right there to be able to connect. Now I'm getting
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. I love Pennsylvania. I was just there. All right, I'm gonna take this now. I'm at the front of her ear, and this is where you're not gonna be cutting that much hair. So I'm gonna over direct to the back of her ear, just nicking those corners, creating that angle, and then connecting it to that top layer. And there might not be much here that you need to cut, all right? But during this time, you can go in and really texturize that hair.
Would this work on fine hair?
This would completely work on fine hair. Just take smaller sections, okay? Making sure that you take smaller sections so you don't cut too much at one time, okay? Taking this back here, we're gonna create that short to long by cutting at an angle. Bring it straight up, and we're gonna connect it to that top layer.
We need hair shows to come back.
We do, girl. I'm just thinking that's a girl who said it. What's that? Um, the funny thing is that their hair shows they're coming back. They are, and we're doing a couple this next couple of year. It's just that with this new variant, who knows what's gonna happen, you guys.
Mark wants to know what size scissors you're using.
So these are my 7-inch arc shears, and arc is one of my favorite brands, and I'll show you guys here what they look like. And what I really love about these shears, you guys, is that the tension knob doesn't stick out. So I can cut directly underneath if I want to. I can cut directly underneath my comb. So that's why I really love these shears. And for me, it's all about preference, you guys. Some people love shorter shears. Some people like longer shears. It's all about preference, right? I like longer just because I feel like I can get in there and do those really deep point cuts. All right, so I'm going to show you something really quick here. So one of the texturizing techniques that I really like to utilize and love is that I want to create some interior texture. When I say interior texture, I mean basically from the horseshoe, from the parietal ridge across to the occipital bone, okay? That's where I want the interior texture. The reason why I want that there is that that's where the hair will create movement, okay? And so what I'm going to do for that technique is this. I'm just going to take that section right there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little texture. And what we know, like I said, we talked about this within the fringe. We know that shorter hairs push longer hairs, okay? So we want to make sure that we get that interior texture in there for those shorter hairs in there to be able to push the hair that's on top, okay? I'm going to show you again how I do this, okay? Because people get a little bit confused. I'm not cutting on the way in. I'm cutting on the way out. So I'm just doing these little cuts on the way out, okay? And when you do this, what you want to make sure that you're doing is that you are using the axis of your shears, AXIX, okay? So the axis of your shears is right where the shears meet down below. And the reason why we use that section there is because that is the sharpest part of your shears, okay? That is the part that gets used the least. So this is this technique, you need to utilize the axis, okay? And so what I'm doing is I'm just doing small cuts on the way out, but for me, it's a lot easier doing it faster. So it's not like I'm trying to impress you guys or anything. It's just a lot easier for me to do it when I'm doing it faster. So here it is in regular time. And when I get to the ear going on back, I'm a lot more careful with this technique, all right? So I'm almost at the ear. And I'm just gonna leave it from the front of the ear on forward, okay? We know that there's a lot less hair there, all right? So going from the left side, we'll go to the right side. And again, why I'm doing this is because I want to create that interior texture. That interior texture is going to give that this hair movement and swing. Get to the ear. I'm not going to go any more forward. All right. So you guys, this is, we're going to face it on forward. This is the basis of the haircut, all right? One thing that I haven't done, can anybody say, anybody's been watching from start to finish, what have I not done with this haircut? Anybody want to say it? As I just clean up a little bit, I'm going to do a little bit of texturizing as you guys can figure out what is the one thing that I have not done to this haircut yet.
They're saying thank you.
Oh, you're the best. Anybody can figure out something that I have not done with this haircut yet that is a principal part of any type of haircut, of any haircut.
Ends.
Ends. What is that? Okay, so what does ends mean? Anybody else?
And bangs.
And bangs. Well, we did create the bang area. Okay, I'm not gonna go any shorter than this because I want her to have that kind of like,
Bottom back.
what's that?
Have not cut the bottom back, the length at the back.
Who said that? Who said that? Who said that?
Okay, it's Anne and then Claire said it.
Anne and Claire, you guys get the imaginary, and Lisa, you guys get the imaginary prize that I'm just whatever conjure a prize up in your head, you get it. All right. I have not created the perimeter yet. All right. I have not created. Yes, exactly. There we go, guys. I love it. Okay. The reason why you guys I like to leave the perimeter for last on this type of haircut is because I feel like once you put in your perimeter, you box yourself into any type of layering that you do, okay? I was very free with my layering, okay? And free with how I wanted the face frame to live, okay? So what I'm gonna do now at the end of this haircut is create my perimeter, okay? So I'm just gonna go in, you can see me here.
More rolling.
This is the back of the head. Just gonna go in now and freely cut the perimeter, okay? I still want this girl to be long, okay? I still want her to have a long effect. I'm gonna come in here and cut it without holding her hair, without any tool or implement. I could use a comb with this, but I'm just gonna cut it as it lives. And the reason why I like to cut this at the end, like I said, so you don't box yourself in with any of the layering that you choose to do, but also at the end here, you can look at the hair and be like, okay, where does it look solid? Okay, where instead of this is why I said this is a very wearable for every single day type of shag is because I want her, if she doesn't style her hair, I want her to be able to wear it every single day. And once you give a nice strong perimeter, then she feels like she can wear it every single day without styling it. I'm just going to show this to you. Look at from the back here. If you saw her walking down the street, you would still say that she has a good haircut, okay?
I agree, totally.
You agree totally?
Totally.
I love it. I love it. Totes. So, again, this is pretty much the finished product of the hair. I can go through again, you guys, and really make sure that I get it nice and texturized, especially with her framing. But how do we feel like that this haircut looks, you guys? I think it's something that's, like I said, everybody can wear, and we can wear it every single day. All right, how much time are we at here? A little bit over 40. Do you guys want to see me style it, or are you guys good? Give me a thumbs up if you guys want to see me style it out.
Beautiful.
If you guys want to stay on, go ahead. I did the haircut, but I'm just going to do a quick.
I think they want to see you style.
All right, all right. I'm just going to do a quick.
And lots of thumbs up.
Lots of thumbs up. All right. I'm just going to do a quick style with my trusty 1¼ inch Marcel iron, okay? What I like to do, you guys, I always like to do what I call working hemispheres, all right? I always like to work the right hemisphere and then the left hemisphere and then I go to the back, all right? I do that with every single styling that I do, all right? So I'm gonna go through here, take a big section, and I'm just gonna go take one wrap around. I'm gonna drop that section, take another wrap around. The key to doing this type of styling, guys, is tension, all right? Making sure that you have tension all the way out throughout the curl, okay? So what I mean by that is this. When I'm holding this curl, I have tension. I'm not just letting it sit like that. And then when I drop it, I have tension. I'm not letting it be like this. I have tension all the way throughout the curl, okay? And like I said, I'm just gonna drop it throughout and making sure that the ends just get finished with that curling iron, almost like a flat iron, okay? Half curl, tension, going on down, tension. That's what we want. We want tension all the way throughout this curl. And what that does is it's going to give us a nice relaxed curl and not look too curly-licious with this unshagalicious shag. We'll leave the fringe, the fringe so you guys can see what I'm going to do with that because I'm going to treat that a little bit differently. So we're going to, like I said, I went from the right hemisphere. I'm going to go to the left hemisphere. Get in here. Curl at the top. Drop that out. We're going to keep tension on it. Curl, drop that out. Tension all the way throughout the hair. Really get that relaxed curl that we want. Do we have any questions so far, you guys? Once again, my name is Mark Dole. I'm Creative Director of Lanza Healing Hair Care. You guys can find me at Mark Dolan2, the number 2, on Instagram. I'm not on Facebook a lot, which I feel bad about because I just looked at all my messages on Facebook and I haven't gotten back to a lot of people. I'm sorry about that if somebody has. But there we go, right there. Now we got that nice tension. We're gonna drop that out. Juliana, how we doing? Any questions on there or anything? Yeah? You guys, I want to thank Juliana too that's holding my phone because holding it for 40 minutes, making sure you don't drop it, making sure you don't shake, it's kind of tough. I gotta be honest with you. All right. I also want to thank the Hairbrain community. You guys, I just did a podcast for Hairbrain, so that'll be coming out soon. You guys can if you want to, you can hear my story. Gordon Miller did my interview, and it was an awesome time with him. It'll be coming out soon. You guys can hear my story and how my journey of where I'm at right now.
Someone asked, what's the best way to practice this curling iron?
Best way to practice this curling iron, like as in like using a marcel iron or just this technique. That's I'll answer both. Okay, using this iron in general, you guys, is just practice, practice, practice. All right. The best thing is like what I'm doing right now. I'm using a mannequin head. I use mannequin heads all the time for anything. You know why? Because if I screw up, it doesn't matter. She can't talk back to me. She can't tell me how much she hates her haircut, or if I'm hurting her, or if I'm pulling her hair too hard. No, seriously, no. The best way is to practice, 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 and use a mannequin head. Those are the times you guys are for you to do your little screw ups and practice your techniques. Or get somebody like Juliana here. She's young in the game. She doesn't know if you're messing her hair up or not messing her hair up. So get an assistant that she don't care. I know. I see you smiling, Juliana. Uh huh. All right. Almost through this, you guys. And I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm gonna keep that fringe section for the last so I can show you how I style that, okay? Any other questions? No. Love it. So glad that you guys took a Friday afternoon to spend some time with me.
Mary said, great job, the best she's ever seen.
The best?
The best.
What? Mary,
Oh no.
you are so kind. Mary, you get an imaginary prize too. Maybe you got like an Apple Watch. I just gave you an Apple Watch, okay? Maybe you already have one though. Then what else do you want? All right, last section to this hair, to the back. And I'm doing this fairly quick, and that's all right because that's what this type of hairstyle and haircut needs. It needs a lived-in feel, right?
Mahi said, superb. Claire said, I needed this. Thank you.
Oh, Claire, thank you. I needed for you guys to tell me how great I am, so keep on doing it, all right? That's a joke, kind of. All right. All right.
Got
So
some people from Canada.
Canada, I'm going to be in Canada soon, just so you know. I'm going to be in Canada soon. All right. So we left this fringe out, all right? This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take this iron and flip it upside down.
We have some questions. What kind of products did you use before prepping the hair?
So, like I said, you guys, I am the creative director for Lanza, so I use Lanza, A. But also, from going from wet to dry, what I love to use is um, our keratin healing oil from going wet to dry, and also our design foam. All right. I wish I had them here. I don't because I just bought the products that I'm going to style with. But that's what I always use from going from wet to dry is our keratin healing oil, Lanza keratin healing oil, and I also love to use our design foam. Our design foam is really light and airy, so it's going to make the hair really nice and airy. Now, do you guys see what I did right there? I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm just going to flip.
And then are you doing the same direction as far as curling?
Yes.
Or are you going back and forth?
So on everything that I did from the right side, I went back. From the left side, I went back. From the back, I did either or. So I'm gonna flip this iron upside down.
Hi from Greece.
Grease. Bring me to Greece. Last section here, you guys. I'm just gonna flip this upside down. Do that one again here because I didn't love it. There we go. There we go. Okay. One golden rule of what we're going to do whenever we curl hair is that we're going to let it sit for a second, all right? The reason why, obviously, we want it to be able to cool down to keep that shape of the curl that we just put in. What I'm going to do now, you guys, I'm going to use our dry texture spray. This is one of my favorite tools that I have, all right? I love using dry texture spray, and those salons of dry texture spray is unparalleled, okay? So what I like to do is I like to take each curl that I just did, and I like to hit it at the base of each curl. I'm gonna go to the other side here. Whoa, I'm slipping on all of her hair. Take it right at the base of each curl that I did, okay? Right to the base of there. We're gonna go to the back here, you guys. Base of each curl.
He said great tips.
Now I'm gonna go in and get her going, all right? I'm gonna get everywhere, all right? But I wanna make sure whenever I start using a texture spray, I wanna hit the base of the curls first, okay? All right, so I'm gonna have her then, say, Vanessa, flip it over, all right? So I'm gonna wring this out with my hands.
Oh, I wish. You're welcome. From Greece.
Oh, girl, I wanna be in Greece. All right, so what I'm gonna do now, I used to have them flip their head back, like I used to say, do your best Beyonce, all right? But that's not what I want. I want to make sure I get a picture out of this, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have them lightly just turn their head over, right like that. So,
Say what products you use one more time.
yep, so I used our keratin healing oil and also our design foam, okay? Lanza keratin healing oil and Lanza design foam, okay? That's going from wet to dry, okay? And the reason why I like to use those is because our oil, you guys, is unparalleled to any other oil, okay? It's gonna give it nice shine, it's gonna keep it healthy, but also it's gonna have thermal protection. I got another assistant here that's, whoop, as as my AirPod just flew out of my ear. This is our keratin healing oil. And then this here is our design foam. I use these going from wet to dry, okay? So now I just put in the Lanza dry texture spray. I sprayed it at the base first, and then I sprayed it all around. And now I'm just gonna pick my girl apart a little bit to be able to style her and make sure that I get a nice picture, all right? The reason why I had her lift her hair up slowly is because I want all that fullness right in front, okay? Go through here, use my tail comb here, making sure we get the back here. How do you guys think that end result looks? Love? Just gonna take a little bit now of our lustrous finishing spray, and I'm just gonna, if I were to get, for picture's sake, I just wanna make this a little bit fuller back here. Spread this out a little bit more. Really get this fringe looking banging. Claire, you're the best. Thank you so much. Making sure that I get to both sides here.
Anne says the 70s are back.
They sure are, girl. And that, you guys, is my finished look for my everyday wearable shag. You guys like that? And the best part about this is I'm just going to show you back here, you guys, is that she's got a perimeter. It just doesn't look like that there's little dangly bits at the ends here, right? She's got a full perimeter. So when she doesn't wear her hair like this every day, it looks like a nice, great, long layered haircut.